Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Friday weather update for December the 2nd. And high pressure in the Tasman Sea is trying to reach New Zealand, and it will do a sort of half job at doing it. It will bring in some settled weather, but it's also going to encourage more windy west to southwest winds coming through around Sunday. Let's have a look and see what's going on the animated wind map. Today we've put on their relative humidity, which you can see the high levels of humidity in the brighter blue shading. So a lot of that is out at sea at the moment. That's why humidity levels are down right across Australia and mostly across New Zealand. You can see a little bit of here in the east where we've still got a few showers around, but really it is clearing away, and we've got a drier airflow moving through with the high pressure zone out here in the Tasman Sea. On the satellite map, on the infrared one anyway, you can see areas of cloud to the north. That is that low pressure zone, and they've got sort of downpours and thunderstorms all the way up to the north of Australia, and a little bit of cloud through the interior, but again, nothing much. On the New Zealand side, just small low-level cloud. It makes it a little bit gloomy here and there, but a lot of that cloud is quite low down and it's not producing the big thundery downpours that we saw the other day. And the high pressure zone out here, so it'll keep that cloud further to the north for the most part. There might be a little bit of high cloud around northern New Zealand. So here we are on Saturday, and mostly dry with the high out here trying to extend across the country. Now the winds are still around in some places, but they aren't as strong as they've been this week. A couple of showers left over up here along the eastern side. They'll be light and they'll be isolated, and maybe one or two just coming around into Coromandel Peninsula, Great Barrier Island, places like that. Otherwise, Saturday's quite dry, and on the other side of that high pressure zone, from around about northern parts of coastal New South Wales right up to about Cairns, you're just seeing a few showers coming in with that southeasterly. Now by Sunday, the high gets a little bit closer to New Zealand, but the shape of it means that the southwest winds return. It's not major for the North Island, but a little breezy through the Auckland area and a little bit windy through the Southern Alps and some coastal parts of the South Island. There's also a little bit of a cold front coming through to the south, just a bit of a temperature drop on Sunday and some showers in there, and the showers carry on around Brisbane, but mostly dry in Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne and Hobart. Let's go to next week. Monday kicks off with that high still around, moving to the north of the country. It's pretty narrow. It's not going to do a huge amount of work staying there to keep our weather settled, but it's got low pressure to the northwest still up here in the Coral Sea, and another low pressure zone down here near Tasmania, making for windy weather around Melbourne and Bass Strait and Tassie as well. In fact, even as far away as Adelaide, it's going to be a bit windy. Really, you could even say all the way over to Perth, but it's not going to be major. It's just a bit of a west to northwest breeze blowing through those areas. Now, as we move on through to Tuesday next week, as I said, that high starts to slip away. Low pressure coming out of the Coral Sea, moving down into the Tasman Sea, and at the same time at the other end, low pressure drifting out of the Southern Ocean. So they're coming from two different directions. There's no storm in there, but it is an interesting one to watch develop, with also high pressure further to the south stretching down like that. So by Wednesday next week, we've got two low pressure zones, one coming out of the tropics, the other one, or subtropics, and the other one coming out of the Southern Ocean into the Tasman Sea. And that will produce a northerly flow around the country, northeasterlies for parts of Canterbury, and there's some high pressure out here, so that's going to encourage those windier conditions. And our final map for Thursday next week shows both of those systems kind of falling apart around New Zealand. Now this red line indicates humid tropical air to the north of it. So you can see it's being dragged down around New Zealand and certainly being dragged down across Australia. Unrelated to this, today when we recorded this, a large portion of Western Australia hitting 40 degrees and above. So it's going to be a very hot day over there. Fast forward to next Thursday, and it's very hot and humid now as well. So we'll be seeing some thunderstorms around the north. Also the blue line, which is the opposite, showing how cold the air is to the south, moving northwards and sort of taking a bite out of the atmosphere right next to Hobart there. So a little bit colder for you next Thursday, but there's warmer air all to the north trying to come down. That's all from me. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.